Right when you get in the spot where the share screen is, when you guys are sharing, when you stop sharing, it pivots on me. As soon as you stop sharing, the button moves on me. It's like, no, go back.
Thank you, Zoom. Very cool.
Oh yeah. What did I just do? Am I sharing my screen? I don't see the green square.
No, you were sharing.
Okay, I didn't see the green square, so I was like, I didn't know. Anyway, all right, remove mic. Here we go. Getting to the end. It's gonna be evil again, isn't it? Yep.
Oh. This thing, man, is cursed.
I didn't say anything yet. I was about to say, well, I'm like, nope, I'm not done. I learned my lesson. I'm gonna wait. I wonder, do you guys hear the dings as it spins?
No.
Oh, so you don't realize that I actually hear that final ding that switches it over to Richie.
Oh.
I hear a little ding that goes off. I'm like, oh, yep, I think it's being evil. All right, Richie, you're up. All right. I think this is our first cohort 11. Oh, no, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not going to say that because I can't remember where that went. All right, Yahtzee, get 5 6-sided dice and a cup for each player. Ooh, we definitely had the original game. We knew that cups existed. Yeah, so in the original Yahtzee thing, you actually even got a cup to roll the dice in. So I guess, yeah, it was fancy. Yahtzee can be played with, what's that?
I was just saying, yeah, it has felt in it.
Oh, yeah, it did, didn't it? It was felt inside the cup, and it even had a nice textured bottom, so it wouldn't slide across the table. You got the good Yahtzee kit, you got a good cup.
The cup definitely gave you better rolls for sure.
Oh, totally! It definitely made a difference. Definitely made a difference.
It makes all the difference.
Oh yeah. Yahtzee being played with one or more players. The object of Yahtzee is for each player to roll dice and fill out their scorecard over the course of a series of rounds, obtain the best rolls they can. With the highest score in the end wins. So that's interesting here is that we decided to outline that end result there. So that was good, interesting. Each player has a scorecard. That's true. At the start of a turn, the player takes all 5 dice and rolls them. They can then roll some or all the dice up to 2 more times, setting aside, I don't know why I said settling, setting aside any dice they'd like to keep and re-rolling the rest. Yeah. And that's actually a really great way of putting it for human side. Again, always, as long as you are aware in your mind that you can break that up and you have to figure out how to do that in a computer setting, it works. The dice can be scored after any of the rolls of scoring the dice ends the player's turn, setting dice aside after one roll does not prevent one or more of them from being rolled. Yep, as we said before, once locked doesn't mean permanently locked. After marking the score on the scorecard, the player's turn ends and proceeds to the player on their left. All right. Overall, yeah, pretty good again. Very descriptive. I like that. That's actually really useful, especially if you want to build the whole game process out. It can be helpful with some of the user interface there. Make sure you're getting each step. And the big thing here would just be, again, making sure we isolate each action. So that would be the same thing that we said with Mike. Was that, Richie?
So I probably would have put the winning condition down at the bottom too, instead of further up.
So right now, in a coding sense, it seems like it's indefinite, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I said it was interesting to have it at the top, but it works again for humans. We get it. For a computer, that order definitely makes a difference, and separating each action can be very useful. Again, this is a great starting point for anyone. Start from the human sense. But the more you do these plans, the easier it'll be to start from the computer mindset. In the beginning, I'm not expecting any of you to know how to write instructions on paper for a computer. You know, that's not what you guys are here for. If you guys already knew how to do that, you wouldn't be here again. So part of what we're doing here is we're learning how do we take our human known knowledge and the real world knowledge and pivot it so we can now take that real world experience and use it in our code and use that understanding we have as a human. So yeah, that would be my biggest thing here. We're going to just make sure we make those actions more individual. So we can say each and every individual action that takes place. All right. Next up, back to the wheel of death. Starting to feel like it. All right, Richie's gone. Next up, let's see how evil this thing can be this time. Now this one was very obvious. At least
I should have. I was about to say before you hit the button, I was about to say it's gonna be me. I should have.
That would have been funny. All right, go for it, Sergio.
Yes, sir. Where is my mind? Where is my mind? Okay, here we go. You're seeing the main screen, right? I don't see the I don't see the green
The
outline.
Pixies, man. That's a good
Yeah, I don't
one.
know where the green outline's been going. I didn't see it either, but it's fine. I see it. Pixies. All right, Yahtzee game setup. Decide number of players. Good. Get player names. That works. You definitely can. But it would be good to know the people I'm playing with. That makes sense. So set up scoreboard. Get dice. Yep, we got them. Good. Player 1 rolls dice 3 times. Player 1 picks desired score. Player 2 rolls dice 3 times. Player 2 picks desired score. Calculate score. Declare winner. Yeah.
I feel like
you
I'm missing
see-
a few things in there.
Yeah, I'm sure you're ready for, you kind of have an idea of what I'm going to be talking about. One, you don't have the idea of locking dice there. So in this, again, as far as the computer knows, I'm just rolling, then I'm rolling again, then rolling again, and then I pick a score. I don't have to, there's nothing else I get to really do in this. And at the same time, what's interesting here is you did do decide number of players, but then you decided in your instructions to only do 2 players. So even though you have on step 1, decide number of players, your steps feel like you decided that there's 2.
Oh,
Well, if I have 4, what happens to player 3 and 2, 3 and 4? Do they not play? So it just goes back to. And
Yeah,
this
yeah,
again,
yeah,
we
I
also, once player 1 takes 1 turn, once player 2 takes 1 turn, the game's over. You see how? So again, and this is again, I'm picking on everybody, so don't feel bad about it. But the main thing is also to help you guys create very good, robust plans for yourself. Good plans so that you don't forget steps in your code. So in this one, yeah, definitely make sure we add in the picking which dice we want to re-roll, so we can lock certain dice. Making sure we say next player, so that way we know that there's more than just 1 or 2 players. And then again, repeat rounds as well. So we have our round, which is we have a turn, which is a single player rolling the dice 3 times, picking dice to lock, and then we have the round, which is all 4 turns, right?
Right.
So those are kind of the phrases I like to use. A turn is an individual player's turn, and a round is when all players play once.
Makes sense.
So those are just some things you can add into that. And again, for me, just make sure, yeah, you definitely have those individual actions in there. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, back to the wheel.
Stop sharing. Oh, you automatically did it.
Yeah, if I'm the only one that has control to say stop.
Good.
You guys can't stop me, but I can stop you. So, Sergio's out. The wheel's getting down. Almost done. I just realized it. I don't know if I should move Amelia another. But anyway. Carlos. Yeah, that's definitely stopping there. Okay. I realized I said, I'm like, oh, don't do that. The thing's gonna jump on me.
That wheel is very greasy. Greased up.
It can be. Let me stop sharing. All right, Carlos, have at it. All right, how does the game flow go? I like it. Start game, create game name. It's fine. I don't know if we need that unless we're going to create have more than 1 game running at the same time. That's fine. Select number of players allowed. Enter players, player turn. Select action available, end turn, new player turn. PS scorecard is filled for all players in game. Any updates you want to say before I go in? You see where you could change a few things?
I mean, I don't think I could change anything. I just think I could add stuff.
Yes, that would be the thing. Yeah, there's technically a change. Definitely some edits, if you want to say that. Yeah, mainly, yeah, just break these down a bit more. What is a player turn? It's kind of hard to use that to direct code. I know that I can use that to define a method name, maybe.
So,
but really
so the way that I looked at it was, I wasn't really trying to get in detail about what's gonna be required to do these stuff. So like until I start, like when I look at start game, I look at what does it take to start a game. Create a game name is pretty simple. You just enter a game name, select number of players, and etc.
And no, that's definitely, and one thing is I would want to clarify is as you get better at these breakdowns, you don't need to be as detailed later on. So if you're someone that says, you know what, I'm going to build the higher level items first, and then I can break those down later when I'm going to build that piece next. So as you get more familiar with the industry, with your code, with your brainstorms, you will definitely get more vague in the beginning and do the breakdowns on each individual piece as you go to that piece later on. So this is definitely something you'll probably see more from the rest of you. You'll see something more like this when you get farther into your coding and more comfortable with your brainstorms and your coding. You'll have much more vaguer brainstorms. Like these are kind of the types of brainstorms.
So you're saying that my template is very advanced and I'm an advanced person. Cool.
it reflects an advanced person. Now, the question of whether or not you are actually advanced enough to use it, I can't say that. We'll see. If anything, maybe I'll lock you to using this to build Yahtzee yourself. But no, again, this is definitely how an advanced developer would brainstorm because they can definitely use it that way. So that's the key thing. Yeah. So if you start feeling like I don't need to break down as much because you understand that concept, start doing that. My main thing for you guys is to give you the tools you need and to show you can be as detailed as you need or as vague as you need to build what you need to build. Let's go. Next up, back to the wheel. Why is Titus still? Oh, yeah, Titus didn't actually go yet. Never mind. Slammer. Oh, you guys don't even hear the applause that it's doing. I forgot about that. Yeah, by the way, it's not just confetti. There's applause and a person screaming, woo!
There's an applause.
Yeah, there's applause and someone
Denying us the
Woo!
pleasure.
Can't you share that sound? I think
I
you can
don't
share
know
it.
how. I'm gonna try next time. I'll do it
You're
next
gonna
time.
have to woo first every time.
There's applause and wooing. All right, Simer, are you still with us? Actually, oh wait, Simer, I think
don't
had to
see
leave,
him
didn't he?
here.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did say he was gonna leave early. I didn't know if he did yet or not. All right, he did. So let's see. Share sound. Here we go. All right, let's see if it works.
Yep.
I can hear the sound effects.
That guy is great. Woo! All right, Titus, you're up. What you got for us?
Okay. One
Pet
second.
is mosh. All right, there we go. Yeah, no pet's fine.
I'm just gonna. Yeah. So I did in notes because
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't know. I just made it very simple. I was watching the Avengers yesterday. I was like, make it sound like the Hulk said it. So as simple as possible.
That works. What the?
So-
Which of? Okay, yeah. If you're one of the older Avengers, then yeah, like the newer Avengers. No, Hulk's actually pretty smart now. But
I mean, yeah.
yeah. I was like,
But
he's
yeah,
going old school Hulk. I like it.
I just remember you always beat into us. Make it as simple
Yeah.
as possible.
Yep, simple and
That's
pithy.
my-
And again, in the beginning, more detailed, better. As you get familiar with it, and you're more familiar writing code for more complex items, the more vague you can be.
Okay.
Because it's always things you get. Once you get to that step in your code, you can always break that down more if you realize, you know what, I do need to break it down more.
Okay.
Open box to start program, make a team or single player. That works. Generate players, roll 5 dice here. Yep. Plural is dice, singular is die. Yep.
I heard you say die.
Yep. It's one of those weird words. Dice is plural, die is singular. Roll 5 dice with 3 straight rolls. Determine and generate score at the end of each roll. Complete score. Choose your score for that round. Let community players go through their process on their own. Repeat until all options on the board are scorecard are filled. Crown winner. So the only big main thing here would just be that in between each roll, we can pick which dice we want to lock. That's that main thing we're missing here, right?
That's the one.
Make sure we can lock down certain dice between each roll.
Gotcha.
Sound good?
That was
And then that main thing is, of course, on line 4, that determine and generate score at the end of each roll. We only, if we keep a score, we lock it, we end the turn, and that's it. We want to make sure that if they're determining the score at the end of each roll, and they use that score, we don't let them roll again.
Okay.
So we only want them, we keep the score at the end of a turn. So just to make sure you have those caveats in there. Other than that, good stuff. All right, back to the wheel. Oh, yeah, I never actually checked with them, but let's see. Did I share sound? No, good. Now I gotta ask. Let's stop screaming. Emilio, actually, I just remembered. Are you actually able to share, or are you still on a phone? You do it in chat, I wonder. Oh, you can? Okay, cool. Go ahead and share then when I stop. There we go. Go ahead. All right, get number of players, get 5 dice. First player rolls 5 dice once, keep dice or choose the roll. Yeah, roll again, pick dice to keep again, roll again, take score. Second player repeats 3 to 8. That's not, yep. Overall, yep, that's their main thing again. I guess some of the other players did add in the idea of like what ends the game, which is good to have. Again, this is just that concept of you say get number of players, but then you definitely feel like you hard coded it to 2. So I would say next player repeats 3 to 8. Be the one big clean kind of fix there. This one I do like that we had the breakdown. The rolling 5 dice, keep dice to choose a roll. I guess for me, I guess I wouldn't. Again, this one I would understand it, but it's that idea of like keep dice or choose a roll. The main thing is that yeah, if we keep some dice, we're still rolling. So I wouldn't really say or. That's getting into semantics, so not a big deal. I remember you said your microphone isn't active, so we'll be good there. I'll take over. Yeah, on desktop, not whiteboard. All right, here we go. Did I share? Am I sharing sound again or no?
Yours had sound last time.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I don't have to keep clicking it. Okay, so the checkbox is saved. Yay. Now the last 5. All right. Wait. Jim, did I remove you?
Yeah.
I did remove you from the beginning, didn't you? Why haven't you said anything since?
Oh yeah.
I vetoed you and I removed you. I just noticed that you're not in the wheel. Like, oh, it's been this long and Jim hasn't gotten to go after he was picked once. This wheel has been
now.
Well, let Freddie go first since he got picked, and then you can go next if you want. Or I can put you back in the wheel, your choice. So
I'll just go next.
All right. Go for it, Freddie. I should have said something, Jim.
Oh, I figured you used your godlike abilities and
To skip you, not to eliminate you. I didn't remove the wheel. I'm thinking like, wow, Jim was picked first, and yet he hasn't been picked again. What is he gonna be the last one picked after being picked first? And then I'm like, wait, no, he's not in there. Dang it. All right, whoa, we got some details here. All right. Game flow, pre-game, add players. Each player gets dice 5. I guess we could say, yeah, it'd be an interesting thing to say that each player gets 5 dice. I guess they could share or get their own. It's fine though. Not a big deal. Semantics there. Determine max turns 13 times player amount. All right. Wow, we actually figured out how many max turns. That works. Make rotating turn system based on amount of players. In game, player 1 turn, roll 1. Choose which dice to roll or not to roll. Roll 2, choose which dice to roll or not to roll. Roll 3, choose score. Player 2, we do the same stuff. And then choose score, player 3 turn. We can scroll down now. I have turns working and rolling working. The only thing not yet added is score management. And that's it.
It's just the same thing. These are
Okay,
all
cool. Just checking.
repeated.
Yeah. No, that works there. Very interesting details in that. So yeah, each player gets 5 dice. That's interesting. Determine max turns. Make rotating turn system. So this is definitely leaning more towards the computer language than human language. So this could be, and honestly, I've seen a mix of that. What I want to make sure I'm very clear with these kind of items here, I'm showing you concepts or ideas on how to approach problems. You always want to customize these to your mindset and to what's going to benefit you the most when you start coding. So don't feel like any exercise we do in the planning phase, you have to follow it to a T. Use that as your starting point and then adjust it to fit you in your way of thinking in your process. So if your brainstorm does better by typing it in very technical speak, go for it. If it's good for you to put in very simplistic terms and just phrases that you like, okay, I remember how to do this. I know what I need to do. Let me type that out now. If you need it line by line, go for it. I've had varying levels in mind because it depends on the difficulty of the problem. If I have a very difficult challenge in front of me, I will write it out on a whiteboard, line by line, step by step. If it's a fairly simple challenge, I might just write certain words I know I touch each step in the process. So it depends on, for me, my brainstorm changes on every challenge depending on how challenging it is and what is going to make sure that I write the right code. So I do want to make sure it's clear what we see in everyone's items. The reason why I want everyone to see everyone's items is that you can see other approaches and so you get ideas on how to change your approach. Maybe you're like, you know what, I don't like what I wrote. It doesn't really work for me, but I did the exercise. But then you saw someone else like, oh, that speaks to me. I'm going to follow that now. So, good stuff. Yeah, this one very broken down, very individual. Not much I can add to that. Cool. All right, actually, what am I doing? Will, I mean, Jim. Go for it, Jim.
Yeah, I broke mine pretty much down simply. I know I have to add a little bit more to it, but basically get a set of dice, make a
Yep.
scorecard, roll free per turn, roll dice and keep roll dice. Keep roll dice. Keep roll dice based on scorecard and hand list, and hit the score. Roll again. Pick up dice. Roll again, or keep score and hit the score. Roll again. Enter score or 0 on scorecard. And next player's turn. Pretty simple and basic.
Yep.
It could be expanded a little. Like
Like
these each rolls could be broken down a little bit more. I know. I could.
I said, break them into the individual actions that are happening each turn.
Right.
Yep. That can definitely be done. All right. Back to the wheel. Last four.
I
Here we
mean, I'll
go.
go next. I don't care. You don't have to spin the wheel.
Oh, I hit it already. Please let it hit you. Almost. Do you want to go before Will or after Will?
I'll go before.
All right. And then Will can go next. Go for it, David.
All right. So mine isn't that detailed.
Good. Multiple different variations, so I like showing.
So pretty much, hey, relax.
David, pick up dice, roll, and enter, and continue on.
Right. So open box, take stuff out, have all players roll 1 die. Lowest goes first, play Yahtzee clockwise.
Play Yahtzee clockwise.
That's it.
I like that.
Yeah, I wasn't too far off.
This is the best one yet.
That's really high level thinking right there.
Oh yeah, we got real into the dirt there. Or sorry, we got real into the sky there.
And you just said it had to be super detailed, so
I didn't want you telling others to be super detailed. I didn't want to give anyone any sort of preconceived notion of how detailed it should be. That's all I was saying.
yeah.
You were trying based on how you started with open box takeout stuff. I'm like, oh, you're kind of seeding people to think they have to be super detailed on it. I don't want to seed anything.
Hey, it's called the red herring.
Yes, very apparent there. Very much a red herring. Started out nice and detailed, and then, oh yeah, just play Yahtzee now. My biggest comment here would be to break down those actions.
Okay.
Cool. I can see why you were willing to show yours now. All right, Will. Dave, you can stop showing. Go for it, Will.
All right, hold on.
How long has it been since I accidentally said Jeremy was going to go up and he ended up being skipped? Because the evil wheel.
Pretty simple. Select players, get 5 6-sided dice.
Yep.
First player rolls 5 dice. First player selects which dice he'd like to keep or replace. Roll remaining dice. Select which dice you'd like to keep or replace again. First player gets final chance to roll remaining dice. The first player calculates score with the dice remaining. Then repeat the steps and continue until card is complete.
That was good. Nice. And I do like to break down very individual steps of what whether they are doing or not doing. So actually not really much to add to this. Yeah, that works. Good stuff. All right. Down to the last 3. Oh, last 2 actually. I wonder what it looks like on this when I do that now. Let's see. Move David. Oh, just 2 giant pieces. And a long finish. All right, Cullen, then Jeremy. Can I actually spin it like that? Oh, I could. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna stop my screen though. Oh wait, what? I never shared my screen, did I?
Nope.
No.
I just realized that. I'm like, wait, when did Cullen start sharing his screen? So that's too late. I already killed it. But what I was saying is that I can spin it with a single person in it.
Oh, it looks like he's.
What? Jeremy, what? Fuck yeah, man.
So yeah, we can. So yeah, Cullen first, then Jeremy. I don't know. I could re-roll it again if you guys want to see who goes first, but I don't think it really matters.
I want to go to that casino.
Yeah, those are the only odds I will ever gamble on.
All right, Cullen, go for it.
All right, here it's roll the dice, pick which dice to keep dice and score points or reroll remaining dice. Repeat that twice, and then switch turns, and then game ends when board is filled.
Actually, that actually hits it pretty clean. So yeah, roll dice. Again, we really don't get the dice. I will say, like we said before, we don't know how many people are playing, but I guess Yahtzee is one of those games you technically can play by yourself and just keep track of your highest score. So pick which dice to keep. Yeah, that technically works. Yep, good stuff. And last but certainly not least, ever since I like halfway into the thing, I accidentally called his name and then he got skipped by the evil wheel. Jeremy, go for it.
Creator of Yahtzee, one of the Parker brothers.
Parker Brothers? Is it them?
Yeah.
They got acquired by Hasbro in the late 80s, I think.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. Hasbro owns a lot.
Matt would only know that.
All I know is Hasbro owns a lot of games. That's all I know. All right. Ooh, you even actually went and got the card from the internet. Nice. All right. I love how it starts. Boom. So you got a player. They roll 5 dice. Then choose if they want to reroll any of those dice, any of those 5 dice, so that they can reroll 3 times, or they only can reroll twice, right?
Right.
Right. So they can reroll 2 times and choose any of those rolls to be that turn score. Then if it's the next player's turn to roll 5 dice, reroll 3 times and choose a score for that turn. After 12 turns, the scores are totaled and the winner is the one with that greatest score. Love the enthusiasm in it. Boom. So you got a player. I like it. that is exciting. Yeah, main thing here again, like we said before, just kind of putting those things in new lines so you really break down each action and you know how many different actions are taking place. Overall, the steps, I think they fit. Yeah. Rolling the 5 dice, they can reroll 2 times. Yeah, that works. All right, and I think that's everybody. All right. Stop screen. I'm going to. Oh, where did I put mine? I closed a tab that I didn't mean to close. Why did it? That's interesting. If you click away from the screen and click back on it, the applause will start when you go back to being active. All right, that was fun.
So is that right? There's only 12 turns per player.
12 or 13. How many items were there? So there's 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, and 6. That's 6 turns there. Then you have the 3 of a kind, 7, 4 of a kind, 8, full house 9, small 10, large 11, Yahtzee 12, and chances 13. So yeah, 13 turns.
13 turns. All right.
Yeah.
And the bonus is only if you score a certain amount of points, right?
Yep, from between the 1s and 6s. Yep, your 1s and 6 score. If that hits 64 or greater, you earn 35 bonus points. There are apparently something that happens if you get a second Yahtzee, but I don't exactly know how that works off the top of my head. I'd have to double check the rules on that. I knew that a second Yahtzee earns you 100 points. So. Let's see. I gotta find mine. Oh, yep. I accidentally closed the tab that I did not intend to close. 2 seconds. I gotta find my Yahtzee file again. I do with it. Where did my Yahtzee go? Oh, gotta find it again now. Ugh. All right, I'm missing mine. I can't find it now because now I have all the classwork for Yahtzee in my drive. I'm not finding my personal Yahtzee now. Great. Just what I want. Where'd it go? After I do a new one with you guys, I'll do a new one. My little breakdown that I came up with. Let's see. Oh, right. I think I remember what I did with it. I did it in a different thing. I transferred it. 2 seconds. No. I'm missing my Yahtzee sheet. All right, screw it. We'll do a new one. Please buy that. All good though. Let's do that. Do. New Google Doc, new sheet, new doc, and then show. All right. Do. Check. All right, we're just gonna probably redo what some of you guys saw before. So 1 dot, and then we'll just do the simple stuff. Get 5 dice. All right. Rolls. All right, player rolls the dice.
Yep.
Player selects dice to, and again, this could be either way, say to re-roll or to keep. So we can, and this is one of those things where I can put like in parentheses or something where it's like, I don't know yet what's going to be easier to code, right? Is it going to be easier for me to code the dice that I want to re-roll, or is it going to be easier for me to code the dice I want to keep, right? Which one's going to be easier? So in this case, I'm going to put both in there because it's like, I don't know what's going to be easier. So you know what? Player selects dice to re-roll or to keep. So I can know, you know what? When I get to that point and I need to come up with that logic, I can do either way. Then I'll decide which one seems easier to the logic. And I'm going to go that route. So 100% be aware of that in your head. Feel free to put both variations that you might build into the system so that you can then at that time decide, you know what, let me think, which one's easier logic wise. I'm going to build the easier one. Now, you never want to make things difficult for you, unless I guess you want to try to show off. Then again, then it's still good to know both scenarios so you can then pick the harder one if you want to show off. Player selects the dice to re-roll. Step 2. Select the dice. Yeah, select the dice, or, and I guess we can put a star there because we decided to do the keep. We don't want to roll the selected dice. We want to roll the unselected dice. All right. Step 3. With all dice. Step 2. Dice. Get score. Next player. We finish up again. If we are doing it, we can do. Oh yeah. We can also do get score, mark score on scorecard. If we do decide to do that, next player, game repeats until all players' scorecards That seemed pretty straightforward, enough to actually maybe build it, or at least for anybody to really play the game, right? Without knowing the details of what scores are good and what scores are available, right? Like with this, we can technically play the game as long as some sort of external system handles the scoring system, right? If we really think about it, we could, and this is something I want to make sure it's clear, like why it's okay for us to just build the rolling system and not include the scoring system. In a company, you might be in charge of that team. Your task is to build the roll system while your coworkers or another team is building the scoring system. All they need from you is the result of the round. What are the 5 dice that the person rolled? So then we can give you what possible scores they can get that they can then pick from, right? So in any company, it's not going to be guaranteed that you're going to be in charge of building the entire thing, are you? All right. You're just going to be in charge of building pieces with the rest of your team and eventually going to build the whole thing over time. So doing this concept where it's like get score, mark score on a scorecard, not being specific, like, well, I don't really care how we get the score, and I don't really care how the score is marked on the card. I'm not building that. That's someone else. If I ever get told, hey, by the way, you actually do need to build a score now, I'll go ahead and break this down more than in that case. But for now, I don't need to know that. Make sense? So for these items, I'm actually going to move these down into their own section down here. So I don't work on that. I don't want those. These are the 5. These are the ones I care about. Right?
No.
What's that?
No.
Why?
Because you wouldn't want next player, don't you?
Oh yeah, we could do that one. That one might benefit from us. But again, for this one, I will clarify is that in this, we're just going to do a single round. So we're just going to code a single round. We're not going to worry about the flow of the entire game, because since we're not dealing with score in our system, there's no way for us to end the game, is there? So what I could say in this one is just start new turn.
That's
You
better.
can just reset the game. In other words, reset it. So we can just start a new turn. Okay. We're not really going to the next player because our game doesn't know which player is playing. So we're not doing scoring. We don't know what round it is. We don't know what turn it is. We're just coding a single turn for anybody. So that's kind of the idea here. The idea here would be just, you know what? I have no dice. I want to play the game Yahtzee. I have the scorecard, but we have no dice. So I'll run this little application so I can roll the 5 dice and get a result, but it's still up to us to figure out the score and write it on the scorecard. Right?
You didn't determine how many players you're playing with. Was that key also?
Yep. Again, since we're not scoring, doesn't really need players, do we?
Well,
Nope.
anybody who's rolling the dice, if it's not you, it would be another player. But yeah.
Because in this tool that we're making, we're just making a dice rolling tool for Yahtzee.
Yeah.
And so this is, imagine it on, I guess, a phone or a tablet, I guess, if you want to.
Well,
Person pulls it up, rolls the dice, picks the dice they want, rolls again. They see the 5 dice, they go to the scorecard on the table and write a new item, and then just pass the device to the next person. Right? That's how this is. That's what we're going to build today. Since again, we're not dealing with scoring, we don't need to worry about players. That is something that is going to be part of your challenge in the next game you build, where we're actually going to include players. So this one, I'm going to walk you through that process. And I will show you some of actual game flow so we can control that. But it'll be the next game that we get into actual 2 players.
You're making an automated dice roller.
Yeah. Well, not kind of just, yeah, I guess we'd say automated dice roller, automated dice roller, automated Yahtzee roller.
Yeah.
It's very specific to the game Yahtzee.
Yeah.
So these are the items we care about for our rolling system, for our Yahtzee roller. We can call it, I guess. Yeah, we can call this the Yahtzee roller. It's not really full Yahtzee. But no. We'll still call it Yahtzee because again, this is going to be set up in a way that you guys can add the scoring system and the player system. You can add multiple players. Because I did clarify, player is there. We do have player. So there is a player, and that way you can very easily start adding multiple players and start adding a scoring system and start adding a turn system. So again, what we're going to build is the starting template for the full Yahtzee game. So that again, if you guys have the time and want that on your resume and want to be able to practice a bit and find yourself with the time, you can expand on any project we work on. And so that's something that's really useful with, and one of the things I try to do my best to design with each of these practices. If we have a certain item we're trying to target, but moving forward from that, there's enough here for you to go beyond with it if you want. Sound good? Cool. Awesome. So the next part of the plan would be to use these to then figure out what entities exist in my system. So I'm going to copy this. Now I'm actually going to switch over to spreadsheet now. Those there. All right. So what entities exist? So if I'm standing at a table of Yahtzee with people, what is there? What entities exist there?
5 dice.
So we have dice or die. We have a die. We definitely have die or dice. What other entities exist?
Table.
There's a table, technically. Maybe we'll need it, maybe we won't. There's a table there. What else do we have?
Are we counting the entire game as an entity? This is all made up. The game is made up of all these things. So
go for it. Yeah, we have the game itself, right?
Yeah.
The cup that you use to
have a cup that holds, so that would actually hold the dice, wouldn't it?
Right.
So yeah, that could be a nice class that holds the dice, right? That could be useful. What other entities exist?
Scorecard.
There's a scorecard. We don't care about it, but there is one, so we put it there, but we'll probably move that away. We don't really care about it. What other entities exist?
There are turns.
There's something called a turn. We could call that an entity. Now, I would say this is something I usually wait to the end for, but I am excited that people are mentioning it because what's interesting with the virtual world versus the real world is that a turn is something that we can say. When I say, hey, a turn of Yahtzee, you know what I'm talking about, yet there's nothing physical that I can show you for a turn of Yahtzee, right? A turn, if I say, hey, let's play a round of poker. Everyone knows how, unless you never played it, but if you played poker, you know exactly what that is, right? A round of poker. So you could argue that that is an entity, that is something that exists, that is a tangible, that is an item that exists, it's an object, it has rules, it has properties, but it's not tangible, right?
Well, a turn has a beginning and end.
Right. Well, again, it's an entity or an object that does exist in the world, even though it's a non-tangible. And that's something that I like about Yahtzee and about games, is that I can start really hoping you guys realize that not all objects in coding need to be physical, tangible items. One very useful one is the concept of time. Time is an object, right? But can you touch time?
Yeah, as soon as you poke at it, you're always moving in time and you're touching it.
I guess you could argue that by just existing, you're touching time. So you're observing it, so you're seeing it. I would say you more see time than touch it. But even then, it's not a physical item. I can't give anyone time, can I? I can't give you time, can I?
Sure.
I can? I can give you more time?
Oh, that's what everybody says. Hey, I can give you some more time.
Oh, in the sense, but the object of time, the concept of time, I can't give you that, right? I can't hand you like, hey, this is time, right? Right, and that's that idea that there are objects or items that are not tangible. And so, yeah, game can be one of those, even though I didn't say it for that one because we do have the game box, so that is kind of tangible. Turn is definitely not tangible.
Yes, you could give me time easily, or you could actually make me lose time just to give me a flight to Australia. I end up losing some time and maybe gaining some at some point.
Oh, we're being smart today. Where's that mute button?
Well, he is in the TARDIS, so I guess he does have an excuse.
Yeah, well, see, yeah, I can
well
fly all overtime, and then time is no concept to me.
Well put, well put.
I would say roll. Isn't rolling considered a action? Well, it's an action.
I was gonna say that's not an object, is it? Rolling is an object.
An action more than a.
Yeah, we could argue that's an action. What other entities exist? There's one I'm surprised no one's mentioned.
The players.
Players.
Thank you. You guys, right? The player.
Well,
I hope you guys exist.
Not talk about or do players this time.
What's that?
You did say to not do players this time around.
Players, but I didn't say we can do a player, which is definitely in my instructions, right?
Sure.
So, yep. And other than like table and cup, these things exist. And yet I did say cup is a great way to kind of represent the multiple dice. We have our single die, and then the cup is kind of representing our collection of dice, right? We could use that as our word for dice instead of using die and dice class. We can have the die and cup class possibly, and that could be a little more interesting. But technically, other than the table and the game, all those and yeah, table, game, and scorecard are the only ones that didn't exist in my details, did they? Turn was right here and start your turn. Player was here twice. We have die in here. We have dice there as well. The player's there. Yeah, other than that, the table, game, and turn. Sorry, table, game, and scorecard isn't there. Now, we did say a scorecard. We're not dealing with that right now, so I'm going to move that out of here. And delete the row. So move everybody over. Column, there we go. And for this one, I wonder, do we need a table for this one? Like, what is the table going to hold?
Well,
in this game, in the version we're making. Now let's think, like, what is the purpose of the table in the actual game? I guess we could say, just so that it makes sense that this entity does exist. So if we're making a full game
in the virtual world for us.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it does, but what we could use it to do is to store the players, right? The players are standing at a table, right? So we could argue that the table is holding the players, right? So this structure could hold our list of players. Could. The game could also do that though, technically so. Again, one thing that's really interesting is that with the physical realm, we're using that as our guide on building our objects in the digital realm. But again, we can always, since we are working the digital realm, we can break things. We don't have to follow certain actual things. We don't have to worry about gravity. And if we were actually building a 3D game, then we might need the table to catch the dice. Then we would need the table class. But since we're not building a 3D world for our system that has to do with physics and stuff, we don't really need a table object, do we? Not for this one. But that idea that, yeah, a table does exist in the game would benefit us if we were making, like I said, a 3D rendering of the game. So as you can see, these items are good to think about in our head. So die, game, cup, turn, and player. That's not good so far, but let's see. What actions do these take? So what can a die do? What actions can a die take?
Roll.
Yeah, dice roll, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they roll. So we can have a roll method. Can a die do anything else?
Well, it does have values, right? Each side has a value.
So your fields will be your sides and faces.
I think I heard a lot of people say a couple things, yeah. But I want to hear one person say it. Let's see. Random.
Is it hand?
Well, no, several people said what I wanted to hear. And I want to hear it again.
It could be held.
Not that, again. When we said it's something about sides and values. What was the sentence we said? A die what?
Has sides and values on those
Has,
sides.
right? A die has a value, right? And sides. So what would we say about those items there? What's a good statement we can make about those two statements there? That it has sides and values. What are those? Are those methods like roll, or are they something else?
They're
Fields.
Yeah, right. And so again, using the real world as an object as our inspiration, we could just realize, oh, because we said the word has, I now realize I have two fields, sides and value. Which one's pointing up, right? And so this was really good about the brainstorming, is that we can use our own language as well to help us template our system. Is there anything else about a die?
How are we gonna determine whether it's locked or not? Can we do that in here?
Now, is the die locked, or is it locked to be a different system?
Is it weighted?
Yeah, is it weighted? Is that can a die lock itself? So can a die become locked?
No.
Now, what?
Need to do that.
So yeah, that wouldn't be a die property, but something else is probably locking the dies, and we would definitely need to figure that out. I want to go to the easier ones first. Let's think about the cup class first.
The die can have also face up.
That's value.
I can just put it down and put whatever number I want.
That's value. Well, yeah, I see what you're saying. So set value, but for me, I don't like that method because that's what's in a virtual realm. What's stopping someone from just just setting the value randomly through a hack? So I actually don't like the set value method. I only want a dice to get a value through rolling it. Right? Make sense?
Yeah, unless you're testing it for certain things, and you can like set the values that you want to.
We could. It's something to be aware.
Sure it's working. That's the only private. I would make it into a private anyway, so no one can set it. But I'm just saying that's an option to.
It is something that a die can do. Yes, you could technically pick up a die and set it to a specific value. So I'm going to put a star here, but yes, it is valid. Set value. That is a method we can do. That is an action a die can take. It can be put. I can definitely pick up a die and tell it to put it down 6 up or 2 up, and I can do that. So a die can definitely be set to a specific side. So let's go look at the cup class. What can a cup do or has in the game of Yahtzee?
What is it? Can you repeat that?
So the cup we have in the game of Yahtzee, what does that do in the game of Yahtzee?
Holds all 5 dice.
So would you say it has dice in it?
No.
It doesn't?
Yeah, it
does.
Yeah.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, it's
It
storing the
does.
5 dice. Yeah, so we can say it has dice. Now, when I pour them out, yeah, the cup doesn't have the dice at the moment, but it can have dice. So that is definitely a field of it. So we can say dice as a field. So what can the cup do with those dice?
Since we know that we're gonna have 5 dice, would it just be an array?
You could do that if you wanted to. Again, I just like to prefer lists because they're more commonly, and I don't really see the benefit of using the array, but definitely would not be a problem to use them. You wouldn't get deducted points for using them per se.
So would the cup inherit roll because I can roll it?
Again, but that would mean that a cup is a die because then it would also inherit everything, would
it's
it?
not a die, yeah.
Yeah.
But the die is not a cup either, but yeah, I'm
Right.
going to roll that through the cup.
Well, what would you be rolling though? You would be rolling all dice, right?
I'm rolling all the dice, yes.
So it would have a roll method, but it would be rolling all, so it would be different. But yeah, the cup is in charge of rolling all the dice at once, right? Or at least rolling all the dice that it has, that it's supposed to roll, right? And so I think that's the actions of a cup, right? I think that kind of handles our cup class. What?
Cup class would be our hand.
Cup, well, I mean,
You could argue it's a hand, yeah.
You could put a shuffle in there because you're actually when you're doing your shuffling the dice, but
That's kind of what
that
roll
is
does,
a
yeah.
minor one as well. But
That's kind of what roll does. Roll shuffles the dice.
yeah, true. Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a shake before you roll it, so but yeah, okay,
But, yeah.
yeah.
I see what you're saying. So yeah, you could rename roll as shake, I guess, but it's fine. It's roll or shake, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
And
right.
just to answer what Titus said, yeah, you could also use our cup as our hand class. So if you don't have the fancy Yahtzee game, you could, instead of using the cup class, you can use the hand class because your hand's going to shake the dice and roll them, right? So
Right.
you can call it cup or hand, whatever you want, whatever feels better for you. But yeah, so cup/hand. What's holding the 5 dice?
The cup itself or our hands.
Yeah. Again, if you got the actual Yahtzee game, it came, I think me and Travis were talking about it. It came with a nice, I think it was a red cup with a felt inlining. So the inside had felt on it. If you actually bought the Yahtzee box, the full box, not the small one. Yep. But yeah, for those of us who never kept, who either didn't take care of the cup or lost the cup, you can still just use your hand. All right, let's do the player next. So what can the player do?
Roll.
Anything you want.
Well, I don't think the player himself rolls, but he does trigger the roll, right?
So yeah, so he stand shakes
Okay.
this action.
So how about we do with what the player has first? In this
A lot of girls.
Well,
Nice.
wouldn't the player physically, if I just think about it, like in real life, if I had Yahtzee on it, I would have a cup with 5 dice.
So they would have a cup, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So the player is where the cup class is now being held. The player has a cup, so they're going to have a cup, and the cup has the dice. So now we're seeing how that connection has. So now I'm standing at the table. I have the cup, and I have my 5 dice in it. That seems legit, right? That connection we have here of the player is composed of a cup, which the cup is composed of the dice, and the dice are the thing that has the value. It makes sense, right? We're seeing this kind of chain reaction now. That's what I wanted to go from on the next thing. Is kind of see that chain reaction so we can see how these things connect. So the player has the cup, and now you say the player can roll, but really I would just be using the cup's roll, right? So I don't really need the player to have a roll method, do I? Nah, I can just access the cups roll method. Yeah, the player themselves isn't really rolling. That'd be cool. I'm sure I know players can. They can definitely roll across the ground all they want. But we don't really care about that.
They also have names and points to keep track of.
Name, yep. Name, and they would have a score. In our game, we don't really care about it. So I'm gonna put let's do a $sign for that, so we know we're not having to deal with it, I guess. Because I have the asterisk for items that that are test based. So stars can be used for test methods, like things that we might want in our code, but we may not want in the actual game. Where the $sign is something we're not going to deal with at the moment. That's something that we're not handling at the moment. Yeah, the player would probably be the one in charge of its score, right? Okay. All right, what happened? So a turn. Does a turn have anything?
As
Or
a
does the
player.
turn just do stuff? Would you say the turn has a player, or the game have the player?
The game has a
Yeah,
player.
I guess the game has a player.
Or players,
I guess the game would have the turn too.
Yeah.
The turn has the active player.
Now, when I say a turn actually has anything, or the turn just running actions?
Turn would have a player's name.
And so this is where, again, it's one of those things where it's like, you could argue that, because I could always accept the turn as the name as a parameter in the methods, right? Does the turn class need to store a player's name? Or could our turn method be more of a static item that just does actions?
The turn will have role.
So, well, yeah, I would have a roll action. So it would say that the player can do a roll. So yeah, so roll would be one thing that a turn has. What's the next part of the turn?
Keep.
Yep, keep.
Well,
or decision.
Yeah, decision or
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Now re-roll will just go back to roll again. So we would.
Yep. So we could just use roll again, and then decision again, and then roll again, and decision,
and then turn.
Yeah, turn. You could say is here. I don't know if that'd be a method, but it's definitely an action. And for those who are interested, I would say that the score would probably be calculated in the turn as well, right?
Yeah. So, yes. Yeah.
Again, we're not going to care about that, so there's our little dollar symbol. Again, one thing I want to clarify, some of these methods we may never implement. Some of these we also may add more as we go through the system. So I personally might be leaving stuff out on purpose. Just be aware of that. So do be aware that I might not be giving you guys everything, because in a brainstorm, you may not think of everything, right? Very, very possible. You are not going to think of everything every single time you brainstorm. So one thing to be aware of that this is what we like to call a plan of attack. When I get to this spreadsheet part. So
sorry to cut you off.
No worries.
I don't see the point of having roll and end turn. I mean, sure, it makes sense, but
yeah,
if whoever's rolling is kind of switching turns.
Yeah.
So.
No, and again, this might be something we may not need. We may end up just doing, for hell, we may end up doing a method just called run turn. That could be the name of our method, which then goes through and activates the player's cups roll method, right?
Right.
So this might end up being the method we build. I'm doing this on purpose where we're just making sure that for this, I know that in the turn, a roll must occur, a decision must occur, and these also need to occur 3 times, or at least this occurs 3 times and this occurs twice. And then I need to end the turn. So these might not be methods, but they're not fields either. So maybe I'll put another symbol here if I want. I don't know if this makes sense. Like this might be like, all right, now I'm getting too many symbols and I have to keep track of them. So you know what? I'm going to call them these because I know their actions. So you know what, for the time being, I'm going to mark them as methods. But when I get to the actual code, I might do something different, right? So 100%, what you're saying is valid. Like this seems very repetitive and these seem like, do they really need to be separate or should they be inside of another overarching item? And so yeah, the turn is most likely just going to be a utility class that just has a single action called run turn. Possibly, we'll see. But yeah, good observation. So let's see, think about this for the players then. What does the player have? What's the game do? The game has our players, and what else does it do?
Well, just to touch on that.
Go for it.
Players. But you're
Hold
right.
on,
Though.
guys.
But you're right though. The turn can have like all these in here, but you don't want your class. You don't want your turn class to be so huge that you want to break it down to possibly these. Possible. methods because you don't want to have you don't want to have like 1,000-line code. You want to break it down to as minimum as possible. But
but during our brainstorm, it can be good to make sure that we know what the turn is doing.
Right.
Yep. So again, it's all based on how detailed do you need it for your brainstorm. If you can just put the method run turn in it and know what that means, then just write that. You can just do run turn. And be okay with that. Be like, yep, I'm gonna have a method called run turn, and I know that the run turn is gonna handle rolling, decision, and looping for a single turn. That's fine. And you don't need these or any of these, really. Again, for the beginning, especially during the beginning of your programming career, it can be good to be very descriptive in your brainstorm so you get used to that and you don't forget things until you get more familiar. And then, yeah, as long as you don't forget things, be as vague as you need in your brainstorm. All right, back to game now. So game has players. Does it have anything, or what does it do, I guess?
Are we, like, do we have to have a method to instantiate the game in here?
We can do, the game would probably set up, right? Yeah. The game would be in charge of setting up.
Because you're not gonna like you're not gonna instantiate like dies. You're not gonna pass it into the construction into the.
I don't think the player would do that, right? Yeah, I don't think the player is gonna create things. Yeah.
And we already know what a die is gonna look like, so we don't need to accept it as a parameter.
No. So you have the setup method.
You want to run a turn or take a turn.
The game should be able to run a turn. And then there's one more thing that a game could be argued that it does.
It announces the winner.
Add player.
It does end the game. It determines winner. We can say that.
Add or subtract players, like determine how many people we having in the game.
Players, you can do that. That could be part of setup. But yeah, that could be a separate method too, though. That setup runs. We're not going to deal with that at the moment. Well, we could, because we could do get player. So we can do that actually. We need that. So we're going to get the game class will then ask the player for their name. What else does game do?
We're keeping track of rounds, right?
Oh yeah, I could run the game, right? Or run the round. So yeah, run rounds or run game, really. For that, run game. Yeah, there could be more methods. This is just a good kind of starting point. The game's going to run Yahtzee. So we could run game, run Yahtzee, play Yahtzee, whatever you want to call it. Play game, run game. The game class is going to be in charge of getting the players like, hey, when we decide we're going to play Yahtzee, I need to decide, okay, well, now that I'm playing Yahtzee, who's playing with me? And the game Yahtzee told me, well, what do I need to know for each player? I need to know their name. Then I get to build everything. All right, well, I have 3 players. I need a cup, which the game knows. The other games use cups. You're actually going to, the game Liar's dice actually uses a cup as well. To roll multiple dice, then you use the cup to hide the dice so you can look at them without the other player seeing them. So the game Liar's dice also uses cups. They can also sometimes use bowls too, but details, specifics, whatever. Anyway, like this seems to kind of be what we need, right? The game has the players who has a cup, who has a die, they can roll it. Is there anything in here that these actions won't be able to, that what we have here won't be able to do these? There's 5 dice, well, our cup holds dice. The player can roll a dice because they have a cup. And the game has the player. Player selects dice to re-roll. We have that decision action that we talked about. So the question here is whether or not the only thing I'm wondering about is who here is going to keep track of locking or unlocking dice, I guess. Maybe we can, I guess decision does that, right? Just to confirm. Yeah. Is there a method here that would be in charge of deciding which dice to keep or not?
I would prefer to separate decision into 2 methods, one for locking and one for locking the dice and one for locking the score.
Probably, yeah. So we could, instead of doing decision, we could do dice and again down here, select score.
I feel like that decision method could have gotten like pretty lengthy.
Yeah. Again, we're not going to worry about those right now. Turn winner, put that down here. So, again, part of that, again, the idea of selecting score, again, we can, for our system, if a player rolls a, let's say they roll a Yahtzee on their first roll, they would just lock all dice, click roll, lock all dice, click roll, and then they would then select the Yahtzee. At least in our system in the beginning. Like a future update we can then allow people to end their turn mid round. So always remember MVP. Yeah, it'd be great to be able to add that functionality to roll a die and end our turn early, but that is going to require more work on my behalf, right? I need to add that logic to be able to allow a player to either continue their turn or end their turn early. Where no matter what, if they go through 3 rolls, they'll end their turn. Well, that's easier for me. You know what? They don't want to re-roll. They can just pick all 5 dice and just re-roll, or select no dice and hit the roll button, right? Keep in mind, we can definitely let the system do that. Let's see. And other than that, though, I think we have everything we need. This is a good kind of plan of attack, right? Cool. So everyone's challenge for Thursday. Just create the skeleton template, the skeleton of these classes. So just, well, actually, you know what? No, I don't like that idea. I won't do that actually. I'm thinking. Because we actually don't have till, yeah, we have Thursday. We have class on Thursday. We do have a day off. Ah, crap. Honestly, I might say, you know what? Go for Mosh, watch Mosh videos instead. I'm not going to give any other than that. For anyone who wants to try to build as much as you can, to compare what you build versus what we end up building on Thursday, I will not stop you. But I definitely want people to get moving on Mosh. I don't want anyone falling behind on Mosh.
I gotta say that I am really enjoying that, by the way, because there's so many little things, you know, that I thought I knew, that I'm like, oh, you can do that actually, you know, that Mosh is kind of like filling the gaps. So
I only have a certain amount of time with you every day, so I can only teach you so much. That's why we need these videos to help supplement that.
Makes sense.
I definitely don't think you can learn it by videos alone, but I also don't think you can learn it by just having me walk through these things and that's it, with 3 times a day, the 3 hours, so 4 hours. So you need both.
For sure.
Let's do that.
For sure. Yeah.
That way, again, if anyone has, I got to double check now. If anyone hasn't logged in this Mosh, you should be logging in tonight or tomorrow morning. So just message me when you're about to log in, so I can get you your code. So you'll be let in. I'm probably going to go through and figure out if there's anyone who hasn't logged in. I'll be asking you why.
Videos uploaded already.
I couldn't find them.
Oh, I could just give you mine.
You have them?
Easier for
All
them to
3?
download or just do the code?
Sorry. No, the code is the login on the Mosh Learn with Mosh website. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they added a new device detected system.
What, added a new course to it?
Well, what it is when you log in, if you haven't logged in before on the site with that device, it asks for a validation code and sends me a code in my email.
Oh.
I actually kind of like it because then I can know who has and hasn't logged in yet. So, yep.
I mean, I downloaded all the videos. I have all the videos, so if people just wanted it, I could just.
Anyone can't get in. So what I'll say, if someone tries to do the code thing and they can't get in, I will hand them your link. So if you want to send it to me, that feels great.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna, for the moment, I'm going to continue with the code thing because it's a great way for me to know who has and who hasn't logged in yet.
Okay.
Which I'll be checking I'll be checking out that tomorrow. So if you haven't logged in yet, you should be logging in tonight, or worst case scenario tomorrow morning before I find out you haven't logged in yet, because I will be pinging you as to why you haven't. So, all right, cool. I will see everybody on Thursday. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do for this. I think that's going to be better for everyone in the long run, is to not worry about homework, but to get the videos going. If you haven't started on them, start them tonight, definitely. So start watching the Mosh videos, start getting through that. That stuff's going to help you a lot. It's going to give you more practice on the stuff that we've done in class, and more, and again, just a different point of view from it that might help get that aha moment. So, sound good?
Yeah.
What do we think of this approach to the problem? How does this stuff feel? Like taking this slower step to working on something, to building a object-oriented project. Does this kind of make sense, this breakdown concept?
Yes.
Yeah,
Does
it's
it
much,
help in? Go ahead.
I was saying it's much better. I think so.
Cool. Yeah, the idea here is, making sure we can see the objects. And again, I wanted to really sink home with this, that idea that the reason object-oriented programming was invented, the reason why they created this methodology of creating code, is because we all experience the real world. We live in the real world. So we should be able to use the real world as inspiration to our code, thus object-oriented programming. And so my goal here is to show that we can use the real world as inspiration and build code based on the real world. So all this stuff works. And like I said, have fun with these things, work with this stuff, fiddle with it. You're going to see how these little brainstorms can help you build better code instead of just diving right in blind. It's going to make your life a lot easier. All right, I'll see everybody on Thursday. Everyone have a good night. Talk to you then.
All right.
Good
All right, good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, all.
Bye.
I'm just gonna end up
gonna go
refactoring.
to
I have like a
sleep.
bunch of these Java ones. I have a bunch of these Yahtzees already done. I'm gonna refactor.